operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally or PEMDAS. Have you heard of both of them? Who's heard of PEMDAS more? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally more. Okay. Order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's what's important here. It gives you kind of a roadmap on how to do numbers. Okay? So parentheses are first. So anything that you see in parentheses, you're going to do first. Or brackets. Brackets are kind of like the mama parentheses. They're the big kahunas. You're going to make sure that you do those first. You're going to look at them bad boys, and then you're going to go inside. You get me? Exponents are second. Exponents are the little things outside the parentheses, right? Multiplication, division. Notice I have a little arrow here telling you to do it from left to right. If division comes first, you do the division. Y'all with me? Visual, verbal. I need to know, visual or verbal, that you understand. Say thumbs up, thumbs down, nod your head. I need something. Great. Addition and subtraction from left to right. Again, we get it? Yay, nay? That's what I want to hear. Are we ready to go? Speed it up, Pokey. Everybody ready? All right, it's go time. This is tonight's homework. I'm starting with you. Did you all hear that? Ain't that nice of me? You're welcome. See, that's what I want to hear. Thank you. No, they cannot hear your questions, but they can hear my responses. They hear every single thing that I'm saying right now. Andrew Ramos loves math. I wanted to make sure you were in there. Shout out for you. What's up? You may go ahead and take this on your homework for tonight. No pen, must be done in pencil. Okay? Here we go. Oh, honey, did I not give you one? Okay. Okay, number one. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, what do I got going on here? Parentheses first. So I have the 5 plus 3, and what does that give me? 8 divided by 2 plus 2. Don't be lazy. Kill a tree or go ahead and, use your lead. It's all good. Either way, we're going to go ahead and show our work today, okay? Now, from left to right, what do I do next? 8 divided by 2 is what? 4 plus 2 is? Are we feeling it? You feeling it? We're all good? Awesome. We ready? I don't know about all that. Here we go. Number 5. Talk to me. Parentheses first. So I'm looking at the parentheses. I see a 3 plus 6, and that would be what? 9. Recopying the left or the right-hand side because I'm not afraid to waste paper if I have to. Now what? The exponent. What does that 3 squared mean? What do I do? You're going to take 3 times itself, however many times that little number is on the top right-hand corner. And this time it's a 2. So I'm going to take 3 times 3, which is 9. So I got 9 divided by 9. And sometimes your brain does not go ahead and put this the way it needs to, like you confuse numerator and denominator. The first number you see is the numerator, which is the top. The second number you see is the denominator, which is the bottom. So what is 9 divided by 9? 1. Does everybody understand that? We good? Moving on down. Number 7. 7. Oh, lucky numbers. 7. Parentheses. I see 2 parentheses. Well, from left to right, always. So from left to right, what's 8 minus 3? 5. Keep it in parentheses. 12 divided by 4? 3. Keep it in parentheses. Why am I telling you to keep the parentheses? Because parentheses, in this case, are going to mean the operation of multiplication. Y'all with me? Everybody good? Okay. So now from left to right, I have 5 times 3, which is 15 minus 5, which is 10. Am I moving too quickly? No? Everyone's good? Awesome. Next, number 10. We ready? Okay, what do you have going on here? So we got mama parentheses, which are my brackets, and we got baby parentheses, which are inside them. Yes? So which one do I do? Yeah, look at the big old brackets, but inside there you got to look at them little baby ones. Mamas always tend to their babies first, right? Right? So think of it like that. Those big brackets are your mama ones, and they're always tending to their babies first. So we recopy all this junk. We recopy everything that's inside the mama bracket until I hit the parenthesis. I hit the parenthesis, and what do? 2 plus 3 is 5. Keep that parenthesis. Why? Because I'm multiplying, and if I don't keep the parenthesis and I drop it, then I'm kind of like, what am I supposed to do now? So I go ahead and multiply, recopy the left. 5 times 5 is 25. Do I need the brackets now? They're kind of senseless. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to write this, instead of horizontally, vertically. The first number is my numerator. The second number is my denominator. Now how many quarters does it take to make $1.25? 5. Wasn't that easy? No calculator needed, correct? Who's with me? Yay! Okay, we good? What? Go do that before class stuff for me. But you get a freebie because you took attendance for me. You're welcome. All right, number 11. I'm moving on, though. Leave it cracked. Okay, number 11. We got a whole bunch of mess on here, don't we? Okay. I would take this from left to right because honestly, folks, this is so much review for you. You should be able to multitask a wee bit here, correct? So let's try to multitask. 6 plus 8. Keep it in parentheses. 8 minus 3. Keep parentheses. Division sign. Now, this big one here is where we're going to struggle a bit. So what is 9 plus 3? 12, and then I'm going to recopy. Can you do the 14 times the 5? Is it legal? Let's go ahead and finish that other parenthesis off. Let's keep this hanging out. 12 minus 2? Now, because the 14 and the 5 have really nothing to do with that exponent over there, can I multiply them together now? I sure can. So what's 14 times 5? 70. Divided by 10 squared is 100. You zone so much. You need to try to focus. Yes, but you zone on me, so you need to come back to me. Come back to me. Now what? Write it vertically. So 70 over 100. Check out those zeros being gone there, so I'm left with 7 over 10 or 0.7. I would accept either answer. Either or either. Either or either. Yes? Okay. Alrighty-dighty. 17. 17. Oh, 17. What do I do? Come again? Absolutely. Or I can still look at this and say, what is 6 squared? 36. I can go ahead and do that because it has nothing to do with this stuff over here, does it? And it's minus 2 times 4 is a 6. And then that 2 is kind of hanging out there. And this 3 is kind of hanging out there. What is that 2 doing? I have to multiply the quantity 6, which was the 2 plus 4, by 2. So what is 6 times 2? 12. And what am I supposed to be looking at now? I got to look at the mama brackets, and that's what's left in there is 36 minus 12, which is what? 24 times 3 gives me, well, if you have 3/4 in your hand, nope, if you have 3/4 in your hand, you have 75 cents, but you actually have 24, so take off 3 units every time, or 1 unit every time. Huh? 2, so 72. 72. You didn't understand what I said, did you? Well, 25 is one more than 24, right? So multiplication is just addition over and over and over. So if 25 is one more unit than 24, I'm going to add that 3 times, right? So if 3 times 25 is 75, just take off 3 units. Make sense? I wouldn't go that far. 18. 18. Talk to me. Parentheses, good. 6 squared hangs, 4 squared hangs, 3 minus 2 is 1, minus 2 cubed. Parentheses are pretty much gone because that parenthesis around the 1 is actually what? Multiplication. So I'm out of parentheses, what do I have? Exponent. 6 squared is? 4 squared is? 16. 2 times 1 is? 2 cubed is? 2 times 2 is? 4 times 2 is? 8. Good. Now, I need to simplify the top. Simplify means what? Condense and make smaller. Put it in a nice, neat package. So what's 36 minus 16? 20. So go ahead and kill the tree and rewrite this junk, right? What's 20 divided by 2? Minus 8? 2. Done. Make sense? Last one, number 20. It's got some fractions, right? It's got some fractions. It's all good. What do I do? I need to look at my brackets, which are my mama ones, and then mamas always take care of their babies, so we got to look at the baby parentheses inside. Yes? So the baby parentheses tell us to look at 3/5 times 5, 6. Now, we got to talk about fractions. When do you need a common denominator? When do you not need a common denominator? What about addition and subtraction? Addition and subtraction, you must have a common denominator. In multiplying and dividing, though, you do not need a common denominator. For example, 2/3 times 12/7. 2/3 times 12/7. Do I need a common denominator? No, because I'm multiplying. So I can simply cross-cancel. I can do this 2 ways. I can multiply tops together. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 7 is 21. They are both divisible by what? 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 21 divided by 3 is 7. To give you 8/7. You can do it long ways, like you learned fractions at the very beginning. Or you can do the same problem by cross-canceling. The 3 and the 12 are divisible by 3. The 3 becomes a 1, and 12 divided by 3 is a 4. Do we see that? Do we all understand what cross-canceling is? The 2 and the 7 remain because there's nothing in common between 2 and 7, correct? So then I can multiply 2 times 4, which is 8, and 1 times 7, which is 7, to give you 8/7. Do we understand that I did it both ways and either one is right? Obviously, the top one's going to have more work. Now, whenever you add 2/3 plus 1/4. When you add two fractions together, I must have a common denominator. So to get a common denominator, you're doing your multiplication tables in your head, and you're saying, what's the first multiplication table that they have in common? 3 times 1 is 3, 6, 9, 12. 4, 8, and then 12 and 16. So what's the first one they have in common? They have a 12 in common. So 12 would be my least common denominator. So this turns into a 12, and this turns into a 12. What did I multiply 3 by to get 12? So 4 times 2 is 8. What did I multiply 4 by? 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Do we understand that? You leave the denominators alone, and you add the numerators. Okay? Now, with that little review out of the way, let's go back. Looking at the baby parentheses, does anything cancel out? The 5s become 1s, and the 3 becomes a 1, and the 6 becomes a 2. Do we all see that? Yes or no? So I'm going to recopy everything from the left all the way up to this, and that's going to give me what? 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is a half, divided by 5/8. Yes or no, folks? You with me? You aren't you? Okay. Okay. All right, when you divide by a fraction, what are you actually doing? Ooh. Multiplying by the reciprocal. Do you remember that word? So the reciprocal, I recopy all this. The division turns to multiplication, and the 5/8 turns into 8/5. Do we remember you flip the 1 after the sign? Okay? So the 1 stays, the 5 stays. The 2 becomes a 1, the 8 becomes a 4. So I am left with 4/5. Do we see that? Now, what am I doing to those fractions? How are they attached? By addition. So what do I have to find? A common denominator. And what is the first denominator that they have in common? A 10. So I change each one of those denominators to 10. What did I multiply 2 by to get 10? What do you do to the bottom? Do to the top. So 1 times 5 is 5. What did I multiply 5 by to get 10? 2. So what I multiply the bottom by, I do the top. So that gives me 8. 5 plus 8 is? How much? 13 over 10. Good. Now, I have something going on there, don't I? I'm going to go ahead and turn that 5 into a fraction. Now I have a fraction times a fraction, right? Can I cancel out? The 5 becomes a 1, the 10 becomes a 2, and I have 13 over 2, or 6.5. Do we understand? That should give everybody a nice head start on tonight's homework, true? We are out of here in 2 minutes, or actually in a minute and a half. Any questions? Any questions? Great.